Hey, what's going on, everyone? New World Order Survival Guy here. I want to get into right now about all this bullshit about gun banning. The Canadians are going through this episode right now where Trudeau is about, if he hasn't already, banning assault weapons and taking them banned weapons, confiscating them, then taking them, giving them to the Ukrainians. Now, what the hell is this shit about? Giving the confiscated guns to Ukrainians to help fight this Russian opposition. Completely absurd. And in hindsight, it doesn't make sense to the uneducated brain to most people. Trudeau is a corrupt son of a bitch, just like our government. So how, like I was watching the Canadian Prepper earlier, and he was getting into this, and he's the one that brought it to my attention. And he is pissed. He's ready to get a United States citizenship. Not that we're any much better, because our government is in the same business as far as getting rid of gun rights to the citizens, which I'll get into that in just a few. Now, the Canadians, Justin Trudeau, to ban semi-automatic firearms to give to Ukrainians. I mean, what the hell is the Ukrainians going to do with these firearms anyways that are civilian type firearms in a war with Russia? First and foremost, let's just talk about this for a second. I mean, you got pistols where they're just going to defend themselves. They ain't going to do shit. Russia's... What is a 9mm going to do to a hypersonic ballistic missile? I mean, yes, Russia is slowly but surely invading Ukraine, but the weaponry that Russia is using, I mean, they're just going to take all the Canadians' weapons, hand it over to Ukraine. They didn't even specify who exactly they're handing them over to. The military? The citizens? Well, Russia basically borders, minus the Arctic Ocean, which is very small ocean between Canada and Russia. What are they going to do? Russia would invade Canada before they invaded the United States. Canada's pretty much a pretty easy target over the United States, not to mention closer and inland bound of a situation to be attacked. Canada is a pretty huge country. I could be wrong, but I believe it is much larger than the United States. Russia has much foothold in Canada to sit there and attack the United States after setting a threshold in Canada. But despite all that, Justin Trudeau, the freaking globalist puppet that he is, just like Harris, Biden, and Trump, you know, it's just absolutely sickening. You cannot fully dictate people until you disarm them. And that's a fact. Now, Trump, I mean, everybody knows the Democrats want to take guns and blah, blah, blah. But a lot of you are fooled by Trump. Trump has already, in his previous election, his previous presidency, has took steps forward to infringe on the rights of the American people, to infringe on the rights of the Second Amendment. Stricter background laws in infringement. How in the hell can you, just like Ronald Reagan, on specifically mentioning some of the notorious Republican presidents that were supposedly to the Republican supporters that's basically what we're referring to, because they believe that there's Second Amendment gods and shit like that. But Reagan's the one that banned fully automatic weapons, which most people are probably conditioned to think that, that's okay. But that's an infringement. The only reason why people think it's okay, in the way these politicians make it sound like it's okay and brainwash people to think it's okay, is because of a few. And a lot of them are because of they're using a specific card, to demonize the weapons. It's always the weapons, instead of holding accountability to the criminals or the false flag operations that's going on. It could be through the FBI, CIA, mind-altering programs that cause some of these things. But it all falls down into pointing against the incompetence of the people. You know, you give access, you give the rights for people to own certain things. They're going to abuse those rights, and then they're going to cause mass casualties or something of that sort. Which in hindsight, people are the ones that are responsibility for the deaths and monstrosities of certain actions. It's not the guns. You know, you can't, like they say, you can't ban pencils because of misspelled words. Now, Canada, if they're banning these firearms, it's going to affect the small businesses up there. It's not going to affect the corporations such as Cabela's, Bass Pro, or anything like that. They want to channel everything down for any type of rights to these corporations. Because Cabela's and Bass Pro, I know, same company, they're not going to be that affected from a ban on firearms, loss of sales. These gun shops and all these small businesses, those are the ones that's going to be affected because that's all they sell. Cabela's and shit, they sell a million other things. Great store. I like it. But you see what I'm getting at? They're channeling down small business, Second Amendment stores and abolishing it. Here comes Trump. Just like him and the freaking COVID epidemic. I don't want to get too much in this COVID-19 because I got a strike on that and I can't really mention it for another month and a half. But Trump had an interview with BONDI, where she talked to Trump about taking guns. And Trump, on this interview, was trying to clarify, and he says he agrees. Just like he did in 2018 when he mentioned take guns first. Deal with it in court at a later time. We don't have time because these crazies, they could just do crazy stuff with these firearms. Trump is a damn globalist. He's a puppet for the damn globalists. He's infringing on law-abiding citizens' rights while playing the scare tactic card and for the Secure America tactic. It's all the same song and dance every single time. They're going to try and weed and do these little things and spit a narrative of the reason why to infringe on your constitutional rights. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be free speech. It could be Second Amendment. It could be Fourth Amendment. I mean, it could be all the amendments. Anything on the constitutional rights, they will infringe on and impede on any way possible. Take the guns first. Go through due process second. Unbelievable statement from President who just weeks ago asked, is there no such thing any longer as due process? I can understand why my fellow Americans, my patriotic, loving Americans, voted for Trump. But you're being duped. Don't let this guy trump you like he's doing. You're excusing his anti-constitutional actions because of his pro-constitutional mouth. If Biden or Harris or Obama would say anything that the bills that Trump has signed in his previous term, you would flip. And he's still to this day up and ante with his Second Amendment bullshit. He's planning on stripping Americans from their guns despite his politician's mouth. He's a liar. Watch. He just had a discussion on film. I can't pull up videos on my stupid ass computer because I guess I'm too stupid to figure out how to do it. But you look it up. Pam Bondi talking to Donald Trump about taking guns. And Trump agreed. Look it up. They'll show you the video. I apologize. I can't play it right here. But it's absolute fact. What the hell is going on? My fellow Americans, you need to band together. You need to use your heads. Don't be duped. Don't excuse his treasonous, unconstitutional, toupee-wearing ass. Do not do it. He's a flake. He's a phony. I've been saying it for years. An infringement is an infringement. Bump stocks, you may not use them. I don't use them. But it's still an infringement on our Second Amendment right because there's law-abiding citizens out there that like to use them. There's law-abiding citizens that like fully automatic weapons, which Reagan has stripped us of. Like I said, you cannot fully dictate people until you disarm them. And each one of these goons that's in office, whether it's Democrat or Republican, are indeed stripping us of our Second Amendment rights. They act like it's a privilege. They put it out there as a privilege. And then they eradicate that a few loose cannons in this country do some heinous acts, and all the law-abiding citizens should lose their rights because of certain individuals. But in fact, everybody's still going to be able to get guns one way or another. Politicians will always use the victims as an excuse, whether it's a false flag attack or if it's some crazies. And I guarantee you half of these people that they call crazies were actually victims of some sort of MK Ultra or something by the FBI, because a lot of these so-called shooters been interviewed by CIA, FBI previously to their shootings. I mean, this goes back decades. Because they're looking for some sort of bait to feed the fish, the people, to use it as a pretext to strip us of our Second Amendment rights. Just like they do our freedom of speech. Trump is a globalist puppet, just like the rest of them. It's stricter background laws is an infringement because they always bait it and make us feel bad. Hey, kids are dying. If you want to save kids' lives, then why don't, give us, you don't need a so-called assault weapon. You don't, we need to save the kids' lives. Meanwhile, they're sitting there trafficking children. They're the biggest traffickers in the world. Meanwhile, they have all these Illuminati secret societies, and they're sacrificing children, and they're doing all this crazy stuff. Pizzagate. I mean, the list goes on and on. They don't care about the children. They just want to play you as stupid to see if the fluoride is working in your pineal gland. They want to see if the jibba jabs, the arm juice, is working. That's what this is all about. They're testing your stupidity. You like the shit that Trump says? You like all that shit? In hindsight, oh yeah, it sounds great. But in reality, they're playing you. They're telling you what you want to hear, so you give support, and then you excuse the unconstitutional shit that they do once they're in. It's like easy money for them. We're going to put America at their own demise, and then they're going to support us doing it. They're going to make excuses for the corruption. Cognitive dissonance. Stockholm syndrome. People are eating this shit up. When people need to stand together, use their freaking heads, and not act like Trump is there for you. Trump is not there for you or me or America. He's not. Just look at his actions. Look at the corrupt sons of bitches that he has working on his campaign and his, his cabinet. Check out that interview with Pam Bondi. His treasury, Scott Bessent. I mean, the people that he got working for him. I mean, for instance, look at his last presidency. He had two Rothschild workers working for him, dealing with the economy. And then, he's buddies with Fauci and shit like that. And now, all this truth came out about Fauci. And now he's trying to diss him. And, it's all a game. It's all cat and mouse game. It's all fake. You tell me Trump is that stupid? He knows nothing about nobody that he brings into his cabinet? Trump is going to push and push for more and more gun control. Period. Just like Justin Trudeau's doing it in Canada. Just like they've already done in Australia. Just like they already done and most of Europe, Great Britain, Germany, Ireland, Scotland, most of them countries been abolished their gun rights. Obviously, China and, most of the world abolished their gun rights. They're waiting on America. Because Americans are the most hardcore, have it together citizens that can actually do some damage. Nobody's invading us because we're the most heavily armed population country in the world. They can't just, of course they can just bomb the shit out of us and just, but, you know what I mean? They're not going to sit here and just bring in people just to basically just martial law us like that. They had to keep us duped. They had to keep us subtile in order to do this. And they got Americans so fucked up in the head and misled and divided and all that shit. It's not long before it can happen. But they absolutely do and need to disarm the American people. That's the biggest obstacle for these globalists, is to disarm the American people. Trump already dipped into that on his first term, and he will continue it this term. Mark my words. He's already backtracking on his freaking stupid mouth. I get how people voted for him. I get it. Because that's the words that the American people want to hear. And so you leech onto it like, damn, that's the only hope, man, because Biden's fucking stupid. Harris is a dumb, drunk bitch. This is the only chance we got. Trump is a card. It's the Trump card. And he's trumping freedom-loving, patriotic Americans. He's playing you as fools. Please, my fellow Americans, please, just keep your eyes open. I know we ain't really got much of a choice, but I'm telling you, you just need to prepare. Get what you can, how you can, because Trump is a gimmick. Trump is a card. And he's here to fool the American people into giving up rights. The torch gets passed down from each person in office to slowly disintegrate all our liberties. It's a huge chess match happening, and it always is. But Trump is a good key player in this. And he fools a lot of people. Just brace yourself. Make plans. Everybody's different in their situation of how they can protect themselves. But get ready for the gun bans, because it's coming. It's coming. The UN for years been calling for global disarmament. They had it posted up on their website for a while, and I'd follow it until it. I haven't looked on it in a while, but last few times I checked, it wasn't there anymore, because I suspect they already had all their members. They already had them positions filled, but they were hiring for a disarmament program for the United Nations. But they just want to slowly nitpick and disintegrate your Second Amendment rights little by little, just like they do all the other constitutional rights. Fully automatic. Get rid of them. Okay. All right. See, that's all we want. Okay. Now it's semi-automatics. We're going to have magazine capacity. We're going to sit there and pick at all the accessories and all that. Bump stocks, trigger mechanisms. And Trump came out with the red flag laws. Oh, there's crazies out there. Let's punish all the law-abiding citizens for the crazies out there that we glorify and use as an example to scare you into submission, into agreeing with a strong Second Amendment politician that's for your liberties. But hey, there's crazy out there, so we got to make an exception. Let's just dip into your liberties a little bit. Promise you a little security in exchange for your rights and liberties. That's always the case. That's how they get people on board. They do this same song and dance year after year, decade after decade. And they use the same tactic for centuries. If you don't know history, if you haven't learned history, you're doomed to repeat it. And they're going to keep on using the same tactic till people wake up to it. Then they'll switch it around. Then they'll mold it and manipulate it into something else. But that's the way it is. What works, works. If it ain't broke, why fix it? All these politicians, I don't care who the hell's in office, they work for the globalists. They're puppets for the globalists. If they didn't want to go along with it, if they were a true opposition to the globalists, they'd be taken out. And they wouldn't miss. Trust me, they wouldn't miss. Because these globalists have as much, they have more power than you can imagine. They're absolutely like AT&T. They can reach out and touch someone in a heartbeat, and they will not miss. I don't know what else to say. They're coming for your firearms. They're coming for everybody's firearms. And once they do, that's when shit is really going to explode. When people don't stand up to whatever extent necessary, Then, oh shit. Then, yeah. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Let me. What the fuck? Hold on. This goddamn stupid ass shit. You there? Alright, sorry. I spilt something on my freaking laptop. Anyways, um, yeah, it's insane. Bottom line is, don't trust Trump. My computer's wigging out. That's all I have for you tonight. Have a good one. New World Order, Survivor Guy. Catch you on the next one.